Hi, my name is Brittany Trudgeon, and I'm here to reflect on the impact that anti-immigration policies have on people, and how social work values guide my perspective on immigration, human rights, and systemic injustice. As seen in this week's video, the immigration history of the United States, immigration has always shaped the U.S., whether driven by famine, war, or the search for work. But history is also full of exclusionary policies, from the Asian Immigration Act of 1875 to Operation Wetback in the 1950s, and more recently, Title 42, which was used to deny asylum seekers under the guise of public health during COVID-19. Social workers view policies like Title 42 or the Muslim ban as more than just bureaucratic rules. They have real-world consequences. They separate families, endanger vulnerable people fleeing from war or persecution, and they often ignore the trauma that they carry, such as PTSD, depression, and isolation. As we saw in the video, Refugee Mental Health Matters, mental health is frequently stigmatized in some communities. And when these individuals are met with hostility or isolation, silence, their suffering deepens. That attitude that they're met with comes from the dominant narrative that often paints immigrants as threats, burdens, or illegals. These stereotypes are not only dehumanizing, they also ignore history and structural injustice. As Charles Lawrence explained in The Middle Easterner as Other, racism doesn't have to be overt to be harmful. It's embedded in our institutions, our language, media, and our unconscious biases. Take the case of Middle Eastern Americans. For generations, many tried to blend in, often being seen as white adjacent. But as demographics shifted and more Muslims arrived post-1965, they were re-racialized. They were seen as enemies, outsiders, or even terrorists. This leads to what scholars call stereotyping feedback loop. Society labels them, so they hide to protect themselves. But by becoming invisible, they lose that power to stand together and fight back. I reject the dominant narrative. I believe in inherent dignity and worth of every person, the pursuit of social justice through equitable and inclusive systems. As a social worker, I believe in the dignity and rights of all people, including migrants and refugees. I also recognize that immigration must be managed through fair, humane, and legal processes. We need a system that works, but we also need one that treats people as human beings first, not as threats. I would like to conclude with something that I read in Human Rights and Social Justice. Gandhi's words state that we must avoid the blunder of rights without responsibilities. It's not enough to hope for a just world. We must actively build it, even when it's hard. As future practitioners, our role is to challenge injustice, amplify the voices of those that are silent, and never forget the human being behind the labels of immigrant or refugee. Thank you.